mean, listen, I think that in the same way that I think Chris Nolan did a beautiful job of removing the kitsch from Batman, and in removing that element of it, I think they got down to some kind of basic core level of what that story was all about. And I think with the A-Team, what I was interested in is for special operator, special forces guy. So I didn't want to get too bogged down in or embedded by this notion that I owed the fan base, or of which there are, millions, anything more than, here's my take on it, here's my 2 cents, this is what I want to give you, this is what I'm willing to see, and then beyond that, let's just make something really interesting. Oh, turn that fucking thing on.
You're carried away.
Nice! Got it! Moving on. Okay, so we had a 6-day week last week, which are always a joy, and then finished late Saturday night. So we're back here first thing early Monday morning. What we're doing right now is the A-Team's escape from Mexico, from General Tuco, who's obviously we named after Tuco from Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Eli Wallach's character, and a little homage to Sergio Leone, which is why we're shooting here in Kamloops. It feels very much like a kind of a western, deserty locale that's in the middle of British Columbia.
That's a deck chopper, sir. That's a flying gun.
All aboard!
It's gonna be a turkey shooting. We're the turkeys! We're the turkeys! Come on, boys!
We ain't no turkey. I ain't no turkey, fool.
Come on!
And cut! That was a nice piece, guys. Nice. Very nice.
So we're out here today. We got all the boys. We got Hannibal. We got Face, B.A., Murdock.
What's the most important part of a well-oiled plan?
He's one step ahead of your enemy. Not be running away from him.
Running? Who said anything about running?
Where are we going? Where are we going in this piece of shit with this freak show? Yeah. I'd rather cross the border on a bicycle. I don't care if this guy's a descendant of the Wright brothers.
How many years have you known me? How many years? Have I ever let you down?
Repeatedly.
And I think working with Bradley and letting these guys go off the script and developing the stuff in the moment is always a blast. It's always a lot of fun. We did a lot of that on Smoking Aces, but it's been even more so on this, because I thought, with a guy like Rampage, who can make up for his lack of experience by letting him really kind of live in the moment.
I don't care if this guy's a descendant of the Wright brothers.
That's the wrong brother to be finding us out here, Hannibal.
Cut. Reloaded.
And then just seeing, I guess, Liam for the first time as Hannibal was a thrill.
It's a different era from when the A-Team TV series was done. And audiences have matured a lot from what they expect from seeing these sorts of movies.
And, someone like Liam, I think, sends a message to the industry at large, to the world at large, that this is a certain kind of movie. Liam brings, gravitas, and a real sense of this muscularity to the proceedings.
Look at you clowns. You're not soldiers. You're assassins on polos.
Who make in a week what you make in a year?
Cash don't buy guts, kid.
It's like Liam Neeson, it's Oscar Schindler, it's Michael Collins, the guy from The Mission. It's insane. I think that once he was cast, he was the first one cast, that certainly everybody sort of popped their head and went, oh, okay, this is the kind of movie Joe Carnahan wants to make. It was Liam Neeson being attached to play Hannibal that I thought, holy shit, I want to do this.
And as soon as they said, do you know it's Joe Carnahan and it's Liam Neeson and Bradley Cooper, and I was like, oh, okay.
Hello, yes, we're standing here on the set of the A-Team. You can see behind me, we're down on the docks, everything's happening. With Rampage Jackson, the champion UFC fighter. Obviously, those of you who know him, if you don't, please Google Rampage Jackson highlights. You'll see what a tough man he is.
4th Battalion, Fort Bend, Georgia. I know who you are, sir. Corporal B.A. Baracus.
They killed it with Rampage playing B.A. Baracus. To me, that's 70% of the movie. 70% of the movie's done. like in the can, success.
Checking to see how quick Rampage is. If I was just standing here, if I just stood here and I just kind of went boom, I hit him. Look at that. And then if I hit him again, and then I hit him again, boom. You're not as fast as I thought you'd be. Look at that. Boom, boom. I got bam, 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 bam.
You see in Rampage the very raw thing that is BA. You know, I can't imagine anybody being disappointed by Rampage's portrayal of this guy.
First of all, he doesn't have to act tough. He is tough, so that's nothing he has to play. And because of that, he's got room to just do so many other things, as opposed to another actor who may try to embody a tough guy. It's just in his DNA.
And his laugh, if you ask people, like, name the 5 things you'll miss the most, Rampage's laugh has got to be top 3.
Get out the way with him. Well, BA is actually me and my dad put together. That's who BA is, you know, and him and Murdock, man, make me laugh all the time.
Oh, now you see, now it's getting nerve-wracking. It's starting to, he's amping it up now. This is not going good. You see, he does that. Oh, shit! Okay, I don't want to play this game anymore.
I never thought that anybody really understood what the A-Team was except those of us who were making it. The comedy and the relationship all played between the A-Team characters. It was the 4 of these guys stuck in a helicopter yabbling at each other, and that's where the fun of the show was.
Whoa, you guys see these bullets in 3D? It's like you're really being shot at.
You are getting shot at, crazy ass fool.
I mean, A-Team was my favorite show as a kid. Honestly, no, seriously.
He knows I'm such a big fan. I was so gobsmacked.
An 18th birthday cake?
Dude, I had an 18 cake with Mr. T on it when I was like 11 years old.
A-Team was crazy when I was a kid, you know, so I used to watch it with my dad, my brothers, and I just fell in love with it, man. It was cool, you know.
I love this job.
My kids watch them. They're still rerun on television. They get a real kick out of them.
This is going to be embarrassing, but I don't really know much about the original A-Team. I've never actually seen an episode.
Obviously, there's similarities because it's based on the TV show, but I think the only way that I really look at it basically is I don't even think about the TV show.
I think if you're going to make a feature film out of something, you better elevate it. You know, you better go this way and not the other way, and make everybody hate your guts because you destroyed their childhood dreams. And
I thought if, you know, with his sensibility and the way he looks at material, he's the one that could turn it into something that was fun and youthful and energetic, but also kind of has that edge to it.
Granted, there are fantastic kind of scenes in this that certainly belie logic and the laws of physics and a lot of other things, but there's still that core sensibility of these guys as a team, I think, is absolutely intact.
When I first read the script, I was really taken with the relationship between these 4 guys, that Joe and the other writers who had worked on it had managed to keep this wonderful heart.
Get your hands on the handcuffs, you understand? I will walk out, I will not show you the handcuffs! Get your fucking hands up! This is a disgrace! Grab me, Charissa! Get your hands up! We were protecting you! You bastards! God! Nicely done! No!
The danger of taking something as, I guess, as beloved as the A-Team and turning it into a feature film is invariably you're going to alienate certain people, fan base in particular, if you don't do certain things and you don't kind of hit certain marks. And I was very cognizant of that, and I think what worked on television 25 years ago wouldn't necessarily work, you know, as a motion picture.
Make sure you have plenty of tape when we do this again.
Brian Bloom and I started writing something we felt would have appeal for people that knew nothing about the television show.
The first thing was to imagine how each one of the characters would quote-unquote grow up, and yet in some ways some of them got younger, but they needed to be modernized.
What Joe managed to do was to capture the essence of the A-Team, the power of them, you know, and the fun, especially the fun, and translate that into a very modern idea.
You know, BA's got the mohawk, and I kept the kind of silver-maned Hannibal with the cigar, and BA's fear of flying, and obviously Murdock's not, you know, rehabilitated. He's still clinically insane.
But they'll never take our freedom!
That's perfect.
But again, in bringing it into this time and place, I think certain things had to change. Nice. Popping in, brother. Nice. Okay. Relief. That was a long run. Made me work for that one, big man.
Oh, you made me work for that one, big man.
Okay, start walking, brother. Start walking. Charge it. Yeah, it's gone really well so far. We're on schedule. We're 14 days in out of 73, so we got a little ways to go. We shot a surveillance sequence here, and we turned the Vancouver Convention Center to the Frankfurt train station. Charlie Woods, the production designer, did a hell of a job. I can't tell. I mean, I looked at it, and with the exception of the giant green screen where the train should be, you thought you were in a train station. And if you look across the way here, you see park plots, and you see all this German signage, Stadtdruckerei, Frankfurt am Main.
We get nice police cars in Germany.
About to shoot a big stunt sequence where Pike, played by Brian Bloom, who's one of our chief bad guys, chases the A-team out of the Königsbank, which is supposed to be in Frankfurt, Germany, standing in for lovely Frankfurt, lovely Vancouver, British Columbia.
See what you got, Compton. Come on. You and me. Now I got my blood. Oh, I do want it.
It's such an honor to fight the man.
What was it like fighting
You know what, man? He's not fighting back, so it's easy. He's making me look good.
This is right after the big confrontation, the fight with Pike and BA. And basically, there's the one moment they have where Pike starts to begin to back up and doesn't know Hannibal's coming in with the vehicle. And they take off, and the chase begins.
So he's going to come out of this building here. A lot of glass is going to go. He's going to vault a couple of cars here that wreck in front of him, and he's going to continue kind of firing at the team. And we're going to try to do this one long handheld shot, because I want to beat the opening of Narc, which all filmmakers try to beat themselves. This is going to be something if we can pull it off. I mean, it's really going to be something, because it's pretty ambitious, hopefully ambitious, and not stupid, because there's a fine line between the two.
This is the part you didn't get. You're under arrest.
I think it's really important to Joe, I mean, to all of us, really, to appear as skilled as possible.
Joe has a sort of a grittiness, which that really excited me about this project and working with him. And I'd seen Narc, which was just amazing.
They even got like a real military personnel training us in weapons, and straight up, legit, 100.
We've had a lot of gun practice, and it's been fascinating.
Oh my God! He's got a gun! He's got a gun, that man right there!
And I'm learning how to work the weapons and work the gun. And I'm never going to war. I'm never going to use it, but it's good to just know it for going to the shooting range and just impressing my friends.
I'm from South Africa, so having good gun training is very helpful. No, I'm kidding. We're a dangerous country.
I haven't done any of that training yet. But I love guns, yeah. I wish I shot more.
I would say we've seen well over 100 types of weapons used on the A-team. And ammo-wise, we're probably going to push close to 100,000 rounds by the time we're done this show. That includes training, lots of cast training. We fired 30 to 40,000 rounds in cast training alone, and then probably another 50 to 60 just on the film itself since we started 4 months ago. A-Team, everything's full auto. Because there's lots of rounds down range, lots of action, and it gives the scene a lot more exciting than your single bang, bang, bang.
Joe loves action, so that's the best part. He loves the stunt guys, and he's a big fan of action movies. So, he likes to keep things as real as possible. So most of the action doesn't look like it's stunty.
You know, in the original A-Team, nobody ever dies. They, you know, flip over a car and then you see them crawling out. And Joe's style of action is a lot harder.
And have the actors involved as much as possible. That was a really important thing, to have them involved and not just always depend on just the doubles, but get them involved as much as we can with the action, which they have been.
There's quite a bit of running and gunfire and explosions. You've just got to have your wits about you and keep your body well adjusted.
Bloom went 110 feet down the side of a building on a wire on a cable for a gag for second unit. And it's so funny, the second unit director made a comment like, you know, you can never get some jerk-off actor to do this.
Action!
Hold them there, hold them there. You good?
Nothing, man. Nothing. Okay, cut.
It's good.
Okay, go higher, that's good.
So much of what happens in this movie in terms of the stunts that the cast is involved in are actually pretty practical. You know, we have some terrific CG, but you know, at some point, a lot of these movies, it's almost like the cast is watching it the same way the audience is. We tried to make sure that this audience is watching this cast in the middle of some serious jeopardy.
Anytime I notice that it's not the actor doing it, it takes me out of the movie, always. So, and plus that's part of why I like to do this job, is I want to experience all that stuff.
There's a scene where they're stealing this container on the back of the semi, and as the truck is driving down the road, Bradley Cooper is underneath the semi.
I was underneath the semi, going like 35 miles an hour. It's 30. I'm trying to punch it up, but it was 30, it wasn't 35. Felt like 60, but I was literally underneath it, you know, doing all this stuff and then rotating, and it was, when were we going to be underneath the semi?
There's a particular gag that is a comedy-based gag which involves Murdock trying to jumpstart a car. And it was quite fascinating because it was a stunt guy doing this unbelievable stunt where he's literally pulled from underneath the hood of the car, does a somersault, lands on the bonnet of the car, closes the bonnet, falls down in front of the vehicle, and I pop up as me, kind of hair crazy and electric shock. And it was just interesting because it was a creative gag that relied on me and the stunt guys' kind of timing and performance.
Brian, you all right?
We're on the Vancouver docks at the moment, which is standing in for the Long Beach docks, which is where the finale of the movie takes place. And unlike Long Beach, California, this is about 5 degrees right now.
Supposed to be Long Beach. Doesn't feel like Long Beach.
We're here today to have Joe walk us through the sequence on the docks. Let's let him complete his whole spiel.
The bottom line is we're going to do everything you're seeing right here. This whole array is CG. I just want to really finish strong. That's probably it's the most important thing for the movie, certainly, because these last few moments in the life of this movie, I'm talking about the production side, are so critical. But at that moment, when they're not sure what the hell's gonna happen, a car will burst out of this container, a car will burst out of that container. Lynch has them engaged, has this other car engaged, has his team engaged the cars. They disable them. A shows up over here, BA shows up over there. We're gonna establish like that there's containers of fireworks on the ship. They jerry-rigged some sort of Roman candle fire down. You realize these cars were dragging fuel. They had all these fuels. They literally lit the docks up.
Dun 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 dun. Pretty fun, huh?
Pike sees face, sees BA, knows that the jig is up, grabs it's like, okay, hell with this, let's get it on.
He takes what's called a small, which is a shoulder-launched rocket, and blows up this ship, and the whole thing capsizes, lifts, and drops all these, surrounded by these containers. So it's one of those small indie moments that is all about character and detail.
Then that would then be the container world that we set up in our parking lot? Is that what we're saying?
I think that's a lot better for you to set it up than us.
Yeah, we need to know what the action is to getting Face and BA down.
Well, I think BA could be sliding off the side and grabs like one of those mooring cables and goes down, but then is hitting the dock and avoiding these things.
Sure.
We've got this great sequence that takes place at the docks involving a ship that's torpedoed and starts to tilt over and dump cargo onto the docks. And of course, all of that needed to be digital. We weren't going to be able to do something that big practically, even though that would have been cool. I mean, I think one of the great things about working in visual effects is it does touch on so many departments. We work with costumes if we're doing digital doubles. We work with stunts for any kind of wire removals or digital doubles. We work with the art department for set extensions and matte paintings.
Also, too, let's put some thought into what are in those containers, because then it could be a real freak show of stuff on that dock. You can have refrigerators, you can have all this shit.
Mundane consumer items.
Mundane consumer items suddenly become, they're burning, they're...
Energizer bunnies will
have fun. Yeah.
The Charlie Woods production designers did this brilliant job at the studios in Burnaby of creating essentially this whole world of tip containers, and you can imagine some of the things that are dangling from these containers, old cars and shipped goods, and illegal immigrants, all kinds of stuff.
You have to be very careful when you're cantilevering 6,000-7,000 pound containers off other containers and making them look as though they're just about to fall, but making sure they're absolutely safe. You can't go wrong. Certainly Helen, my supervising art director, and Dan, our art director, worked very closely with the engineers to make sure that this was safe.
BA, meanwhile, is using this kind of world of tipped containers and so on a motorcycle, going across them in this kind of evil, great escape kind of fashion. BA comes on the bike and kind of either Superman punches him or does some big stunt. Lynch finally gets to Hannibal. They have a fight, and then there's this big reveal. This thing comes up, and there's law enforcement, everybody surrounding Lynch. This is, again, a broad overview at best. All the subtleties, nuances, etc., and so on will be worked out as we write this thing this weekend.
I think whenever you work with any great director, you're going to get their personality in the movie, and Joe's personality and his sense of humor is all over this film.
He's a passionate director, very dynamic, full of zest director.
Guys, all right, here, before we go, we do something on the set, on the A-Team called the rally clap. Ready? Goes like this. Rally, 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 rally. Yeah! That's how we do it.
I mean, that's the thing with this movie, is the tone of this movie. You see very quickly, if you hang out for 5 minutes, sort of the vibe that Joe is going for.
We had to bring the ace in to close out the ninth. My dad has never acted professionally before, but I've never directed professionally, so that worked out.
That works
okay.
out great, yeah, absolutely. Joe's underneath it all, he knows exactly what he's doing, and so he sets a great feeling for them to work in.
He brings a great deal of what I call performance energy to the working day.
Here on the day where I actually ruined my own film by being in it. This is one of the benefits of directing. You get to do stupid shit like this.
There's a very collaborative energy here. Joe has set the stage for anything you want to try.
He likes when you put your own stank on it. All these terms I'm learning is put your own stank on it. He funny, man. Joe is funny as hell.
And this is how I normally treat actors. It's rare when an actor treats me like that.
Bradley and Rampage and I tend to improvise massively and go off like the script's meant to go here, and we like going this way, you know?
And Joe's very much a part of that. You know, he's very much a part of the humor and the improvisation as the scene's happening. He'll always shout out stuff.
A little bit more movement, a little bit more movement, go back.
Smells like piss.
Smell like piss.
Pike, you're gonna want to get ice on that. BA, grab the thing, you know, something, just throw it away.
And sometimes through earpieces that some of the actors wear, he'll feed us a line he has just thought of, which is great. It's really great. It keeps it all fresh and alive.
Let's get the earbud up to Bradley so I can talk to him during the take. Earbud, earbud, earbud.
Listen, we're not curing cancer, but if there's a language that's throughout this film, it's Joe's.
You can't use any of this stuff. You cannot use any of this, man.
He brings out something in all of us that would not happen elsewhere. And because of that trust, even for guys that are newer to it or guys that are just getting to know each other, magical things happened.
Ah, what the fuck was that? What in the fuck was that?
The mistake people make, or I think the mistake that filmmakers make, is they immediately equate the size of a production with the amount of pressure that you're under. And I think that filmmaking is inherently filmmaking. I don't care if you're doing it for 10 grand or you're doing it for 110 million. It's still the basic components of telling a story, I think, remain the same, and it starts to be compelling and interesting and intriguing. And Steve Cannon was the only guy who was worried about making happy. He created the show. And Steve is such a dear guy and was so effusive in his praise for what we did. And that was it, man. Game, set, match. I mean, we made him happy. We took care of the guy on whose back we built this enterprise. We're good.
But it's not the show. It's a fresh, funny rehang that I'm really, really proud to be a part of, and I think you have to look back to Joe for all of this.
I really enjoy films that don't stay within the boundaries of what they're supposed to be. And I think that's what's happening here.
This is crazy, man, and these guys are going through a lot to make it look real and legit. My acting coach ain't teaching me about this. It wasn't no blue screen in my acting class.
For a kid who's 35, this is like a dream to do this movie.
It's the movie of the A-Team. Come on, let's have some fun here.
It's been an amazing experience to end up actually playing one of my favorite characters as a kid.
It's a tough job, but someone has to be sort of, the little guy in between the real man. So that's what I get to be.
Yeah, it certainly has humor, but it has a real heart to it.
We've taken, I think, as far away from the TV show as you can. But what you had was those four guys that you felt really liked one another and really cared for one another and really had one another's back. And I might be wrong, but I would submit that that's what audiences responded to. Again, just this great sense of affection and connection between these four guys. And I certainly think we've done that in spades, and I hope we have. For again, for the audience's benefit. But, like I said, I just think it's more important that if the base kind of flour and sugar are there, the cake can come out any way you like, and that's what we've done.
Oh, okay. Is that it, brother? Yeah, we're good.